everybody. I am your host, Bonnie Bruder, and this is the Askbonbon Show, real conversations about what matters most, where we bring you the people and the tools to create you. So my next guest is one of my favorites, and I'll tell you why in just a minute, but I'm sure you've had the experience in life where you're on the right path and all of a sudden things just keep coming to you. You almost can't stop them. It's like every time you open the door, you meet the right person, the right connection, the right opportunity. And it's always a good piece of evidence, I feel, when that starts happening in your life. And that's kind of what happened with this show. You know, we initially started out, we were doing 12 segments. It was going to be once a month. And then every single person we talked to would introduce us to another incredible guest, or they would have something that was directly relevant to our message and our mission. And so Julie Brown is no exception to that. And in just a moment, I'll introduce everybody to Julie. But I have to tell you, when I first started doing television, everyone told me the first rule is don't wear patterns. And the second that I met this woman and her designs, that went out the window because her clothes are way too cute. But more important than that, when I started wearing her clothes, I remember the first day I looked at the tagline and I couldn't believe my eyes because her message was so directly in line with our mission and our vision for this show, which has been happening pretty much each and every guest that we've run into. So Julie, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here. So I am so fascinated. You have such a successful business and you're in an industry where so many people, especially in New York, strive to get into. Can you tell us just a little bit about how you created your business?
Sure. It's kind of exactly what you had just described about your business. It was something that I always wanted to do. I was surrounded by art and fashion my whole life. And my grandfather owned a men's tailoring store, and I really, really always looked up to him. And my mother was an artist, and I would just go to my closets and merchandise my closets and put them in color order and invite my babysitters in, and it was just something I always wanted to do. But I grew up in a suburb, and it was it wasn't as easy as being in New York City or in any kind of city and being around more culture and more art. So when I went to college, it was really, I went to George Washington, so I was in a city.
Okay.
I was able to visit museums all the time. I was able to take art classes. It was just a very different way of life. And when I graduated, I wasn't exactly sure of what I wanted to do, but I knew that I had to do something on my own. I really didn't want to work for anyone else. I wanted to be able to make my own way. So I started off, of course, working for someone because it's the only way that you learn.
Sure.
I worked for Ralph Lauren, then I worked for Anne Klein, and then I worked at Bergdorf's, and I just really worked on the selling floor. And I kept saying to myself, not that it's a bad thing, I've done all of this education, I was a straight A student, and I'm working in a store. And I would march into human resources, and I would say, and I was really good at sales, even though I was always on the quiet side. I want to do something else, and they would say, Julie, what do you want to do? And I'd say, I want to do something else. I want to be in the fashion department of the store. And they would say, so go. And I would say, but then I'm not going to make any money. So then I ended up getting engaged, getting married, and I worked across the way from a very, very small designer who did just bridal. And it was just me and this other girl who had just graduated from Cornell, and the woman who owned the store was never there. So it was kind of like our store.
Okay.
And within a month, we had increased her business by, I think it was $80,000.
Wow.
And it was so exciting to me because when the brides would come in with their bridesmaids, the woman who owned the store had all of these different fabric selections, different qualities, different colors, different patterns, and it was like I was able to design. And me and this girl, Gail, who had a technical background, and I really just had my eye, not a real skill. It was so exciting to us. We would stay there till like 10 o'clock at night, and the woman who owned the store couldn't understand why we were working for her. So one day she actually locked us out. She locked me out of her store. It was Memorial Day weekend. I was in tears. I was so upset. I loved my job so much. I had never been let go of anything. Nothing bad had ever happened in my life, really.
Wow.
And that weekend, I looked at my husband and I said, I'm going to go to the garment center and I'm going to do this on my own. And he was like, what are you talking about? And I said, I'm going to figure out how to do this on my own. And I bought fabric, and I took one of my mother's envelope bags, and I found a pattern maker to make the pattern of an envelope. And I made about 15 different bags in different colors and Poochie prints. I have a Poochie print right here. And I brought them to Henry Bendel, and they loved them. And I just did it. And then he was turning 30, and he had a surprise party, and I was getting sick of the bags, even though it was slowly taking hold. And I made a triangle, like a simple reversible triangle.
It's gorgeous.
And I wore it, and a couple people stopped me. And then I did a trade show, and then I started to want to make dresses, and I figured out how to make dresses, and I brought them to Bergdorf's, and the 6th floor bought them. And then the Neiman Marcus buyer walked into Bergdorf's and called me and came to my apartment, and then she advertised me, and my career began. And it's exactly the way that you said.
Fascinating. It is so interesting because in the moment, and I've had similar experiences like that, where you're on the street crying, you've been locked out, it makes no sense. And then all of a sudden you go, well, guess we're going to go in this direction, life. And it's so great to hear that you followed your passion and now have created this great success.
Yes.
So can you tell our viewers your tagline?
My tagline is dream big, dress well, be you.
I love that. And again, I had no idea. I was literally shocked when I looked at the tag, and I said, of course, this is, how we came together and connected. So what is your vision now? You've been doing this for how long?
I've been doing this for 14 years.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
So, of course, when you have a career, I've had lots of ups and I've had lots of downs.
Yes.
And I've learned so much because after all, it is a business, and it is, you have to know how to be in business. And that's been the biggest thing for me, because I do like to dream big. I do like to dress well, but it is not the most important thing to me. The most important thing to me was to be you. And so the times that it was very, very hard, it was easy for me to do it because I was being me. And it's so challenging because
yes,
really challenging things happened, and they will continue to happen. But my little girl is sitting right here. If I could ever say one thing, it would be to be you, because it is hard when you're challenged.
It is so important, and we hear that. That is part of why we're doing these segments, because so many people think, I'm someone that's had my own business for so many years. I worked for a lot of celebrities, but, you work for them part-time, you do your own thing part-time, and it was never easy. I've never had a stable paycheck, healthcare provided for you, all of that sort of thing. So, you can do whatever you want. You can meet your friends for lunch, and people don't really see the other side of business and how hard it is and how hard you have to work, and that doesn't ever go away. The challenges are constantly. The moment I find myself, I'm like, wow, things are going well. I'm like, uh-oh.
No, anxiety. It gives me anxiety.
Yeah, and not in a bad way, but you just know it's the ups and the downs.
Danger at your door.
Exactly. So it's good to hear that I'm not alone in that, and that every single entrepreneur on the show has expressed that same thing. So, so what is your vision? What do you want? And what would be kind of like your dream? You obviously are living it and created it, but what is next for you?
My dream has always been the same dream. I don't know if it'll ever come true, but I always pictured having a boutique in New York City, a very quaint one, and my office being upstairs, and my children coming to it after school, and having a catalog, and having multiple locations, and really being able to survive on the look of Julie Brown. It's so important to partner with stores and to have retailers, but I want to be self-reliant. It's very hard in this business to be self-reliant because you need a little bit of everything, especially these days with social media and all the different avenues. But if you can really create your own brand and your own following, then I think that you will always be okay, somehow, some way. You just need help doing it. You need a lot of money.
Yes, yeah. Yes, that's very, very true.
which makes it hard.
Yeah. Well, fantastic. Well, how can people find you? If they're watching the show and they're interested in contacting you to learn more about your story or to check out your line, what's the best way for people to find
On my
you?
website,
Okay.
it should have all my information on it, and yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for all of the amazing outfits. So many of our viewers have commented on such great patterns and dresses and so forth, and most of those come from Julie Brown. So we're very honored to have her here today.
My pleasure.
Yeah, and thank you for the great work that you do.
Of course.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. This has been another episode of the Askbonbon Show. I am your host, Bonnie Bruder, where we bring you real conversations about what matter most and introduce you to the people and the tools to create you. We will see you next time.